Yeah, good morning, everybody, and thank you for the nice introduction. My name is Carsten Meywirth, and I'm heading the Cybercrime Division within the German Federal Criminal Police Office, Bundeskriminalamt. This year, I'm 42 years with police services and 9 years with the cybercrime. And our mission with my division Cybercrime is to fight cyber-dependent crime, and we investigate against the hosters and administrators of illegal marketplaces in the internet, in the darknet. And from this year, we allocate within BKA all the investigations against state actors in my division. So we fight against all. The criminals outside, all the criminals who are attack us with a financial motivation or with a political motivation. Yeah. Can I, with this one? Yes. Okay. And we serve as central agency for our world-famous federal states, and we support our federal states with their investigations against cybercrime. And we developed over the last 12 years a huge data lake, and we developed an app universe. And we have a very good resources and a very strong collection strategy. So we have a very data-driven crime-fighting approach, and I will come to this back in a few minutes. The personnel structure of my division, we are now around 300 people, and our limit is fixed to 350. And I have 1/3 of us are cyber experts, IT experts, and 2/3 are police officers. And I always say we are a young and wild team, and we are young despite me. I'm not young anymore, I'm just wild. And we gave us a very special mindset as we established the division in 2020. So when you look outside and see the criminals, they surprise us every day with new proceedings, with new methods. And so we decided to be innovative and be adaptive with all the investigations we are undertaking against them. So the first slide is the state of crime, and I brought you some figures about that. Over the last years, we saw every year an increase of the figures of the cases reported to the police. You see Google Mandiant stated ransomware attacks with an increase of 50%, and Chainalysis, they analyze all the crime wallets, and you see 154 billions of dollars with an increase of 25%. And a big insurance company in Germany, they ask all the managers about the biggest threats they fear, and 52% on number one is the biggest threat is cybercrime. And we have a damage in Germany from cybercrime every year, more than 200 billions of euro for the German economy over the last years, every year. It's a very significant figure, and it's almost 40% of our federal budget in Germany. And why it is, why it are so high cases reported to the police, and why it is such a big threat. when you look back to 2015, a very professional underground economy were built up, and then came the pandemic in 2020, and the perpetrators, they switched from single fire to permanent fire, and after this we had some wars, Russia against Ukraine, now we are faced artificial intelligence, and this helped the perpetrators as well. The biggest threat is ransomware attacks against the economy and against public authorities. And I brought you an organizational structure of the former ransomware group Conti. And you know the short story behind this. In 2022, all the criminal groups, they decided to stay either on the side of Russia or on the side of Ukraine after Russia attacks the Ukrainians. And this group, it was Russian ruled, and the leaders of this group, they decided we are on the Russian side. What they didn't know was the fact that there was in Ukraine people as a member of this group, and he didn't agree about this decision, and he leaked all the data he had about this group. And from that point, we were able to analyze the organization. We analyzed all the chats they had. And this is the result. It's an organization with a CEO. They have 3 divisions, an administration division, IT division, and an operations division. They make recruitings in the internet, and you have to fill in a multiple choice test. And when you know your boss only with his username in the internet, and you have 100% home office, and you get a very good salary, you must know who is your boss. Yes. And they have a very good IT section. They hosted more hundreds of servers globally distributed. They have a very good operations, and these operations team, they are, you have chat with them when you got a ransomware on your system. And the whole group, the core groups, they have more than 100 people. And a very important detail is that 3 or 4 years ago, the core groups, they decided we have a very good malware, and we have a very good profits with it. What's about to make much more profits? And they sold the malware to other perpetrators, and we call them affiliates, and they gave them a business plan, and all the new perpetrators that can use the malware, and they have to give 20% of their profits to the core group, and they can hold 80% of the profits for themselves. So that is another reason why we have so much attacks with ransomware groups. Yeah, the ransomware business is divided in a single encryption, a single data extortion, and we see in double extortion with the exfiltration of the data and the encryption, and we see a triple X. Triple is when you got a malware on your systems and they exfiltrated the data and they gave you another DDoS attacks to stress you in that situation and to motivate you to pay the ransom. We call the second stage extortion when they extort you or your clients with the data you have from your clients and the perpetrators got with the exfiltration. How do we fight cybercrime in Germany? Our crime fighting approach is based on 4 pillars. One is the actor approach, very easy. There is principal police work. We have to identify the perpetrators. As we learned over the years, we identified a lot of perpetrators, but most of them who committed the serious crimes, they are hidden in safe havens like Russia. So we developed another crime-fighting approach. We called it the infrastructure approach. And from this time on, we detect the whole infrastructure from them. That is a quite new approach. And then when we detect all the infrastructure, we planned the takedown in an international cooperation. And that approach we call the infrastructure approach. And then we have the third one, the financial approach. And the financial approach means that we look after their finances, cryptocurrencies on the servers before we took down their infrastructure. And we developed a quite new crime-fighting approach, and we call in 2024, and we call this the disruptive communication. And in 2024, with the Operation Endgame, where we have the lead in Germany, we developed together with the Netherlands this crime-fighting approach, and you can go on the website operation-endgame.com and you see all the videos we released on this website, and we started to talk to our criminals with those videos, and those videos were made in a very modern Japanese style, in an anime style, and 2 minutes videos, and we put all the information we had about these criminals in these videos. It was a very big success, and we were able to assume mistrust in this criminal community, and we could make them feel insecure, and the result was that they lose trust with their business partners, with other criminals, and it's a quite new approach, and we started to release more and more videos, and you can go on this website. We hosted this website. It's very safe. Yeah, and those are a selection of successful operations we led in Germany, and we did within international alliances. And most of those operations started on the Europol platform JCAT, the Joint Action Task Force Against Cybercrime. That is a very good platform to find partners with the same missions and to start international operations. You see on the left side, Emotet, from my perspective, that was a milestone with the crime fighting against cybercrime. The Emotet case, Emotet was a dropper and loader malware group, and it was the group with the biggest threat in 2020. We started investigations against them in 2018, and we investigate 2.5 years, and we detect all their infrastructure. They hosted more hundreds servers globally distributed, and we got access to this infrastructure, and then we did a thing nobody did before. They sent malware to a huge botnet, and this malware was IP-based, and we sent, as a police, with the access to all the network, we put the perpetrators out, and we sent the malware to all bots. But with a little thing we did other than the perpetrators, we changed the range of IPs so that the bots said hello to our friendly infrastructure and not more to the infrastructure of the perpetrators. So we have stolen all the bots from the perpetrators, and then we cut off all the servers they hosted globally. And that was a very big success. And from that time, the takedown was sustainable. This model was a role model from that time for all the other takedowns. The FBI did it with Cuckbot. 2 years later, Cuckbot was a dropper, and they used this role model to took down the dropper Cuckbot. We were motivated to tackle more than one dropper, and that was the initial idea with the Operation Endgame. And the Operation Endgame was so far the biggest cyber fighting operation so far in the world. And we target not one dropper, we target 6 or 7 droppers at the same time with an international alliance. And from that time, we took down all these 6 or 7 droppers, and we did it twice in 2024 and 2025. You could feel very safe because all the ransomware groups, they had no droppers to infiltrate your systems. For at least 3 or 4 months, it was very, very secure, very safe to host your infrastructure, and the ransomware groups weren't able to infiltrate the systems. So that was a very successful operations. We did some other operations against illegal marketplaces like the archetype market, and we fight against no-name Russian hacktivism group, Russian ruled, and we took down their infrastructure last year in July. They could come back again, and I can tell you we fight against them, and we will tackle them once more, I'm very sure. We took down some very good tools, the biggest money laundering tools in the internet, like Crypto Mixer or Chip Mixer. With Chip Mixer, we found on the servers cryptocurrency worth 90 million euros. We fight against Blackbuster ransomware group, or with the Operation Power Off against a lot of stressor services. Yeah, and with the Operation Endgame, we identified a lot of perpetrators. We were very successful, and we had, in Germany, we have 20 warrants against perpetrators. The American FBI, they identified 17 more, and I brought you a short list with photos of those perpetrators, and you can see with the red market, those are the TrickBot perpetrators. TrickBot is was a dropper like Emotet or Cuckbot. You can see the white marked, they are the Cuckbot perpetrators. The blue ones are the identified perpetrators of the Russian, pro-Russian hacktivism group No Name. And on the right side are below are the Blackbuster perpetrator. You can see Nefedov, Blackbuster, black marked. On this slide, he and Kovalyev on the top, the second one on the top, Kovalyev and Nefedov, they were the founder of Conti, of the ransomware group Conti. And yeah, all these guys you can see with their real names and their usernames in the internet. And you can see Vasilychenko. It's the guy in the middle on the left side, and you see his picture with an X. That is a very, very easy reason. He was the first one who tried to travel from Russia, and he thought Armenia is safe, and that was a mistake. And now he's waiting to get extradited to Germany. Yeah, and I will end with a short quote from a perpetrator from the malware group GanCrab in 2019, and he published this quote: "We have proved by doing evil deeds, retribution does not come." And 7 years later, the court in Stuttgart, they gave him 7 years in prison. Thank you very much.